Hi you guys, my name is Lauren and I just wanted to introduce myself to my followers on social media. Sometimes I feel like we don't really know each other just because social media is so impersonal, so I wanted to create this video so I could try and connect with you guys. I'm going to share my story with you about how I got into hairdressing, what my experience has been like, and I also want to hear about your experience as well. So make sure and leave me a comment, message, tell me what you've learned from the industry, and tell me a little bit about your story as well, if you feel so inclined. So I started doing hair after I graduated from the University of Montana, where I studied marketing, communication studies, public speaking. I graduated from the University of Montana in 2012, and then I moved back down to California. I was originally from California. I grew up in San Clemente. I moved back down to California to go to Paul Mitchell, the school Costa Mesa. It was the greatest experience of my entire life. I don't think I've ever been happier than when I was in hair school and learning about the industry for the first time. All my hopes and dreams, which I never even knew existed, kind of came into existence when I was in hair school, and that's because of the educators who inspired me and who told me what was out there in the industry. Before I went to hair school, I always knew I wanted to do hair, but I wasn't really sure about what the industry can offer me. And through Paul Mitchell, I really learned those things. And to tell you the truth, I do not work for Paul Mitchell. I just absolutely love the company. I really do. So I will praise them till the day I die, because they have done nothing but show me gratitude and give me confidence to pursue everything that I've pursued up to this point. So I graduated Paul Mitchell in 2013, and when you are done with hair school, your journey is just beginning, and you are not going to be a stylist or a successful stylist for a while. Once I graduated hair school, I had met my husband at the University of Montana, and we were doing long distance. So he was still in Montana, I was in California, and we had just kind of started our relationship long distance, and we did that for a whole year. And once I graduated and he was still in school in Montana, we decided, okay, let's move somewhere where we could both be together. So we decided to move to Seattle. And that is kind of where I started my career. I worked for a salon in Seattle for 1 year as an apprentice. So I was never actually a stylist yet. I was working on clients that were just models. So I wasn't in the salon on the floor. I went through basically a whole year of training before I was ever on the floor as a stylist. In that year of training, I had just moved to Seattle, and so I found myself in a predicament. I didn't have any friends or anybody to practice on, and this intensive training required that I had quite a bit of models a week to work on, whether it's haircuts, color, different types of like color correction techniques and stuff. And it was really hard for me. So since I didn't know anyone, I was literally by myself in Seattle. I had a little studio apartment that was maybe about 300 square feet. It had a bathroom and a bed and a kitchenette, and that's where I lived for about 7 months until my husband eventually moved to Seattle with me. And so I was completely by myself, lived alone. So I just said, I need to do everything I can to be successful in this academy, because I really want to be a great hairstylist. So because I didn't know anyone, had no one to practice on. So luckily I lived in a city. So I would go up and down the streets of Seattle and ask every single person that I would come across if they would let me do their hair. And mind you, even though this was still kind of a school, they still had to pay to get their hair done. So they see just some random person coming up to them on the street asking them, hey, can I do your hair? I'm in school and training, but trust me, it's going to be real great. And for every about, I'd say 20 people I would ask, maybe I'd get like 3 people. But I'd have my little notebook with me, had ready to write in, a time on my schedule and stuff, and I put a little bit of pressure on people. But I actually made some lifelong clients. Well, unfortunately I moved, but lifelong friends, at least still, from doing that. And And I think that experience has really, really taught me to not be afraid of literally anything in this industry, because if I could handle that much rejection, I could do anything. And believe me, that was a lot of rejection. Because, like I said, only a few people would say yes, and most people would be like, I'm going to try to figure out a way to back out of this conversation. So that was like most of the reaction that I got doing that. But like I said, I learned so much about not being intimidated by anyone. And I do think that lesson did come, well, number one, from my parents, because they're always just like, they're entrepreneurs, they're go-getters, and I learned that from my parents. And then also I was reinforced that mentality by Paul Mitchell, John Paul DeJoria, and he's one of my heroes in this industry. He doesn't even do hair, but he reinforced that principle for me, and it's really paid off. So thought it'd be important to share that. So after the academy, I think it was about 2014 is when I finally started on the floor at this high-end salon in Seattle, and it was a great experience. I met a few really awesome people there, and it's hard for me to be an employee. I think I'm a good employee. I will always do my best for my boss, because that's just a type of person I am. I have integrity in everything I do. If I'm going to do something, I want to make sure that I'm pleasing the people who I'm doing it for, and I'm presenting the best, characteristics of myself at all times. So I tried to be the best employee that I could be. But it's hard for me to be an employee because I have so many ideas, and I think I'm right all the time. And I think a lot of the times I am right about certain things, but when you work for a salon, a manager and an owner, they're not going to be able to appease every single person's ideas in the salon, and I understood that, but I just wanted to kind of do things a little bit differently. So some of the needs that I had when I was in a salon were that I felt like I couldn't spend enough time on clients, and I was kind of looked at as like a deficit, like, oh, you're just not quick enough type thing. And I really just didn't believe that was true, because me and like some of my other friends, we were doing things that just take longer, and it's just hard to standardize something when every single person is so different. I mean, how can you just do everything in a 2.5-hour time span if you're actually working on all these different types of hairs, textures, lengths? Those all require different times, and I just had a lot of trouble trying to fit into that type of system, get them in, get them out. And so I wanted to start my own salon, which was, I think, inevitable anyway. I always, I like to do things on my own, but I wanted to get experience, and I really did get a lot of good experience from that salon, and I don't regret ever anything that I've learned there. But then when it was time for me to leave, that was my goal, as I wanted to provide a space where I could create freely. I had no restrictions on what I was doing, and I could do it my own way. With that came a lot of responsibility, but I did know that going forward, because like I said, my parents were entrepreneurs, and they have taught me that owning a business is 10 million times harder than working for somebody else, and that's why not everybody goes for it. But at that point, I kind of just always knew that I was willing to take on that type of risk and responsibility, because the reward, which is being completely autonomous and independent, was just worth it for me, just very important to me. So I started looking around for studio spaces, and I was trying to debate whether I wanted to, have other stylists working with me or for me, and being an owner and a manager, or just being an artist. And I came to the conclusion, after looking at many spaces, first of all, honestly, so many renters didn't even want to rent to me, because first of all, I had never owned a business, and hairdressers are looked at as pretty flaky and unpredictable, so nobody really trusts a small business startup and for it to be a salon. So I couldn't really find any spaces that were willing to rent to me, unfortunately. But that's okay, because what I ended up doing, I think, was perfect for me. I realized that I probably right away didn't want to have other people working under me, because I'm always like learning myself, and I also have a very particular like system of doing things, and I didn't want to kind of force that on other people, and I would absolutely have to be a boss and, you know, enforce certain ways of doing things on the other stylists. And knowing that that's exactly what I fled from, I can't really expect others to want to do that. So so that's kind of the reason I was like, okay, I'm going to just do a small studio space and just have a place where I could create freely, and I don't need to be a manager or a boss, except for to myself. You know, I'm only responsible for myself, and that is what I did when I started the studio salon. And I started my studio salon at STYLIST salons in Seattle, downtown, and it was a really awesome experience. I grew through social media, and that's how I built my clientele so quickly, and I ended up being booked out like 3 months in advance in Seattle, and I'm so blessed that we live in a time of social media, because as much as I have the ambition and I could go out and get clients and do that, and even if I did that, it would never have grown as fast if I had kept doing that forever. It wouldn't have been growing as fast as how it did with having social media backing me. So I just feel so lucky to be in this era. And then my husband and I decided that we wanted to move back to California for a few different reasons. I mean, we grew up here. It's our home, and he wanted to, you know, pursue his career opportunities here, and I knew that I can do it here because it's California. There's so many people, the industry's booming here, and there's always going to be opportunity for me here in California. So for both of us, it was just seemed like the right move. So we came back here. I started up in Lake Forest, a new studio salon, and it's the same thing as STYLIST salon. It's actually slightly bigger, and it has a little bit of new appliances and stuff like that. So I really love the look of it, and it's super fun, and I've been having a great time with clients here. And then I recently started growing a lot on social media, and then I began getting a lot of inquiries from just other stylists, like, hey, I want to learn what you're doing. I like, you know, they're liking the photos that I post on Instagram and stuff, and so they start asking me, hey, do you do classes? So I want to thank every single person that has ever done that and has ever reached out and asked me about that, because you have inspired me to take on a new adventure, and I'm so excited about it, because sometimes, like, you know, just taking clients all the time or just doing one thing in the industry makes you just a little bit stagnant, and it was really nice for me to have the opportunity to like share what I love and what I'm obsessed with talking about all the time with other stylists, because it just makes me so excited to see when other people feel confident doing something. So then I started doing some classes, and kind of what I do in these classes is, yes, I teach technique, but I also, my purpose is to give people the same confidence that I've developed over the short time that I've been doing hair. I've only been doing hair like as a stylist for about 3 years. So I worked as a stylist 1 year at a salon in Seattle, started my business the next year, and now this year I'm continuing that business in California. So I've kind of every single year I've just started something new. It's actually been super stressful, but I do feel really proud of what I've accomplished, and I don't think it's because there's anything special about me, but I think there's certain things that I would just love to share with others to kind of streamline their success as well. And I really do believe that. Like, I don't think that I'm like the best hairdresser in the world, and you know, people are so lucky that if they get to learn from me. But you know, when you feel like you've learned something, it like wells up a passion in you to want to share with other people, and that's really what this new education endeavor is about. So what my classes kind of consist of are about 8 hours of education, and you're just with me the entire time. It's hands-on, it's up close, it's personal. I do demonstration, and then I also do live models with you, and you partner up, you do live models, because I think that's the only way that you can apply the principles that you learn to different scenarios and stuff. So I always try to have people work on live models, because I do think that that's the best way to actually learn, because like the stress of like the unknown you don't really get that when you're working on a doll head. You get that when you're on a model and you learn to conquer it more, especially when there's someone right behind you showing you these techniques and how it's going to work and it's going to be okay, and then you also getting to experience that for yourself. So that's what I really try to help people with in these classes that I'm doing. And so far I've gotten some great feedback, and I just feel so blessed to be doing this, and I want to continue doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much my story. I'm always going to take clients still, but I do really want to kind of pursue this education even more. One thing too, that one reason that I wanted to do independent education as well is something that I felt lacking in education that exists right now is actual learning sometimes. Because like when you take education from, like, say, a product line, I think, in my opinion, like, the ultimate goal is to get you to buy that product line and teach you how you can do it anyway by using this product line. And so that's why I think it's kind of cool to be able to, and there's other independent educators as well, and I think all of us have something in common, that we want to actually teach technique to help you grow and not make you dependent on a product line. And I think that that is something great, and I want to be a part of it, and I'm so blessed that people care about what I'm doing and want to learn from me. So thank you for that. But yeah, so that's pretty much my story. I want to hear what your guys' story is too, so make sure to comment below and give me a little insight as to who you are and what your journey has been like, and maybe if there's anything I can help you with. I would love to know that too. I am now traveling to pretty much any salon in the country, and I always keep my classes really small. I keep them about like 8 to 10 people, because I want it to really feel like one-on-one experience. Because I think that's the best way that you can learn from somebody. It's less intimidating too. You don't have all these people around you like judging, like, oh, you don't know that already, that kind of thing. I would always feel intimidated, kind of like that in big groups. So it's like more of a just like intimate experience, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I want to know, so if I travel to a salon, I don't charge any travel fees. I just require that there's a minimum of a certain amount, just to make sure I could at least cover all my expenses to be able to travel there, get a hotel and car. But you're not paying anything extra than what the class fee is. So I think that's kind of nice too. No unexpected costs or anything like that. So I would like to know, like, who would be interested, what states would be interested in having me come to their salon. So far I've been doing a lot of stuff in Seattle and like the Northwest, just because that's kind of where I came from. I've done a little bit of private stuff here at my studio in California, but I'm willing to travel anywhere, so just let me know, like, give me some requests and stuff, and I'm super excited to get out there. So thank you guys so much for watching this, and again, like, let me know about your experience as well. I'd love to hear and connect with other people, because that inspires me. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.